Welcome, listeners, to the Privacy Report.
It's good to be here.
Today, we're diving into, well, a really compelling trend that's reshaping the internet.
The Great Migration.
Exactly. The mass migration to decentralized social networks. Platforms like Mastodon, Bluesky, and anything built on ActivityPub.
Mm-hmm.
They promise this radical shift in power. People are flocking to them to escape centralized corporate surveillance.
The idea is true data ownership, right? Greater individual control. And that promise is powerful because it addresses a very real problem.
The concentration of power in just a few tech companies.
Exactly. DSNs were engineered to break that monolith. When no single company owns the network, users gain leverage over things like moderation and content hosting.
It really feels like the untamed frontier of the web again.
Yeah.
A space for, radical autonomy.
But autonomy, as we know, often comes with hidden risks.
And that's the core tension we need to unpack today. You have to ask the question, does decentralized actually mean private?
And the answer is, well, it's complicated. A lot of the privacy risks people thought they were leaving behind just resurface in new ways.
Often trickier ways, because the network is so distributed.
Precisely.
Which is why we need to sort through the noise. And before we get any further into the specific risks, just a reminder that you can subscribe to our email newsletter at theprivacyreport.net.
We break down these issues even further there.
Okay, so let's start with the basics of control. If the power moves away from a Meta or an X, it lands in the hands of thousands of independent server administrators.
Right.
But if I join one of these networks, why isn't my data immediately more secure? Where's the breakdown in that privacy promise?
The breakdown, it happens at the architectural level.
Okay.
While control is distributed, a critical security feature is often missing. End-to-end encryption. E2E.
So things aren't encrypted by default?
Not usually, no. DSNs are generally public by default. They kind of have to be because the content needs to be shared and discoverable across all these different servers to function properly.
I get that. For public posts, you need discovery. But what about a private chat? A direct message between two people on different servers. Why can't that be fully encrypted?
That is one of the biggest structural challenges of federation. In a centralized system, data moves just between you and one corporate server. E2E is pretty straightforward there.
Right.
But in a federated system, your message might have to pass through, say, 3 or 4 independent servers. Your instance, the recipient's instance, maybe others in between.
Because the network isn't designed to trust those individual servers.
Precisely. For the protocol to even work, the servers often need to read and process the messages, even private ones, to route them correctly.
So they can't be encrypted end-to-end.
Implementing it across all these untrusted domains without breaking everything is technically very complex. So most DSNs today just don't have it for direct messages.
Which means the administrators can often read private communications.
Yeah.
That immediately changes the risk calculus. You're trading a large corporation seeing your metadata for a single person potentially seeing everything, including DMs.
It's a trade-off of scale for intimacy. And that brings us to risk number 1. The unpredictability of federation. It creates this problem of data immortality.
Data immortality. The idea of federation, this cross-server communication, is what gives these networks their strength, their reach. But how does that connectivity become a threat?
Well, you can think of federation as data replication on a massive scale.
Okay.
When you post something, it's instantly copied across maybe hundreds or thousands of other servers that your home server is connected to.
And these external servers are totally outside the control of my administrator.
Completely. And they can archive your posts indefinitely.
So my post lives on, even if I try to delete it.
Yes. We call this the problem of weak deletion guarantees.
Weak deletion guarantees.
When you hit delete on your home server, it removes the post locally. Then it sends a request to all the other servers asking them to delete their copies.
But there's no guarantee they will.
None at all. They might not comply immediately or ever. They might keep cached versions or have an archival policy that just overrides your request. Your content can become, digitally immortal on some server run by an admin you've never even heard of.
That complicates things immensely.
Yeah.
What about legal risk? If my content is scattered across 10 different countries, what happens then?
This is a crucial point many people overlook. Decentralization does not equal protection from government requests.
It might even increase your exposure.
It could, yes. If your data is replicated globally, a government can request that information from any server within its jurisdiction that holds a copy. It doesn't matter where your home server is located.
So instead of having one point of legal defense, the big company, you now have Hundreds of potential weak points.
Each subject to different laws and pressures. Exactly. So if an admin in a high-risk country gets a warrant for data you deleted 5 years ago, but which their server archived,
Your data is compromised.
the whole platform is only as safe as its weakest, most legally accessible link.
That is a powerful cautionary tale. Let's move to risk number 2 then. The hitting power of the administrator. We've established you're trading corporate surveillance for trust in an individual. What can that individual running a server actually see?
They can see significantly more than you might realize, especially the metadata.
Okay, let's detail that. What do we mean by admin visibility?
Every server administrator has access to the server logs. This includes really detailed metadata about your interactions,
Like
your IP address, which gives a general sense of your location, your access patterns when you log in, how often you're active, and who you're communicating with.
So even if the message content is somehow obscured, they know who I'm talking to and when?
Yes. And if you join a small niche server, the admin essentially has a dossier on your behavior on their instance.
A dossier, wow.
And like we said, without E2E, private messages may also be visible. So for a discerning user, you have to vet this person. You're trusting their technical skill, their ethics, their security hygiene.
What if they get breached? Or they're just, not very good at patching security holes?
Then your data is at risk. That's the core takeaway. Security isn't inherited from the platform software itself. It's not like Mastodon or Bluesky makes you safe.
It's entirely dependent on the specific operator of the instance I choose.
Exactly. The framework is there, but the actual security guarantees are highly variable. It all depends on things you can't see, like their log rotation policy or their update schedule.
Okay, for the listener who wants to explore these alternatives but still protect their privacy, we need a guide, a checklist.
Right.
How do we move past the sales pitch and actually scrutinize an instance we're thinking of joining?
We have 5 essential evaluation points. It requires shifting your mindset from trusting the software provider to vetting the landlord.
Okay, lay out the landlord's checklist for us.
First, identify the hosting model. Are you joining a massive public instance, a small closed community server, or are you going to self-host?
Self-hosting sounds like the most private option.
It provides the highest theoretical privacy, yes. But then you are responsible for everything. 24/7 maintenance, patching, security. You replace the corporate barrier with a massive technical competence barrier.
Right, the control versus competence trade-off. What's next?
Second, review the administrator's policies. Look for explicit posted policies on data retention, monitoring, and administrative access.
So, no policy is a huge red flag.
A huge red flag. Do they have a clear schedule for deleting logs? Is there a warrant canary? Transparency is absolutely non-negotiable.
And
Third, check the federation behavior. Understand how widely your instance connects to others. A server that connects to fewer other servers inherently limits your data's exposure.
so if it's aggressively federating with thousands of instances globally,
Then you should assume your data is being archived widely. That directly addresses the data immortality threat.
okay. Number 4.
Fourth, confirm their data dilution guarantees. What does the policy say? Does the server just delete the post locally, or does it commit to actively trying to retract it across the Fediverse?
And for how long it will try.
Exactly. That tells you how seriously they take your right to be forgotten.
And the last point, number 5.
Fifth, evaluate the moderation philosophy. This might seem less technical, but it's crucial.
How so?
A philosophy that focuses on aggressive content preservation for the historical record might mean your data gets mirrored or preserved in places you never expected.
This shifts so much responsibility onto the user. So what does this all mean in practice? What precautions should we take?
We have to adjust our behavior. First, always choose an instance with clear, transparent governance. If you can't find the rules, don't join.
Okay.
Second, and this is the most important one, post with the explicit assumption that federation will spread your content widely and permanently.
Assume the highest level of visibility.
Treat every post, even a quick thought, like a public, permanent billboard.
That's a sobering thought.
It is. Third, avoid sharing truly sensitive information. Reiterate to yourself that decentralization does not equal encryption. Assume the admin can read DMs unless you've verified otherwise.
And
Finally, use burner emails or privacy-preserving identities when you sign up. Because DSNs are not anonymous by default. Your account is publicly traceable through your handle and your posts.
so the illusion of perfect privacy in a distributed system is probably the single greatest risk here.
That's a great way to put it.
So a final thought for you to consider? When you're seeking refuge from big corporations, the choice often boils down to this: exchanging centralized, predictable surveillance for decentralized, variable security that depends entirely on the competence and trustworthiness of a single admin.
Which of those two risks is easier for you to research, monitor, and ultimately manage?
That's the question. Before you commit, review the privacy policy of your preferred instance. Confirm exactly how it handles data retention, logging, and deletion.
Keep asking these tough questions about your digital privacy.
Thank you for tuning in to the Privacy Report. Please like and subscribe wherever you listen.
We appreciate you learning along with us.
And a brief disclaimer.
Yeah.
This episode was made with the assistance of AI.